Well, hi guys. Welcome back to Growing Through the Vents. This is Anitra, and we are now on episode 6, which is really cool. Isn't it 6 times that forms a habit? Don't quote me on that though, because I really don't remember, but it's 6, so I'm like here for it. We're getting somewhere. But how are you? How's life? Personally, mine has been blissfully beautiful, but it's also come with some temporary adjustments. I do really try to be intentional of what I'm doing and if it's purposeful rather than egotistical, but in what sense, and is it selfless or selfish? I feel like there's a part of selflessness that is often perceived as selfish. And as I have experienced, I can't quite control what other people see. And I know sometimes we're going to have completely different angles of the same situation. I am more than understanding of that, but I won't force anyone else to be. I really do give it my all in everything that I do as an employer, a sister, friend, and even behind the scenes. And I don't ask for recognition. I don't even expect anyone to recognize anything because I just know if I need to handle something, regardless of what it is, I just need to handle it. No matter who sees it, no matter what the situation may be. It's just my responsibility, right? It's one of those things that would fall under the category of what's understood doesn't need to be explained in my world. So sometimes I forget it's not always the same in others. And maybe people haven't quite introduced themselves to it, or maybe it's not what works for them. Maybe it doesn't work the same for them as it does for me. I don't know. You guys tell me, but it's just really hard to live up to other people's expectations when I have expectations for myself when it comes to the roles that I play. And I've learned it's not my responsibility to live up to anybody else's expectations. But boy, is that hard, and does it come with really thick gray areas? I mean, each of us are main characters in our book, but also supporting characters in others. In other words, just because you're in your own world doesn't mean the world revolves around you. So this is when we have to be mindful in applying everything that I had talked about in the first 5 episodes, right? This is when we have to see the boundaries placed and know our boundaries. This is when I have to remind myself of those promises that I've made to myself so I can be disciplined enough to stay on track with what aligns not just with my plan, but with my purpose. Before I elaborate, I'm sure there's a few people that may feel like this is indirectly directed towards them, and let me reassure you that it is absolutely not. It's not personal at all. What happens is I'm the friend that, even just like family member that just falls off the face of the earth sometimes. My closest friends know that, and if you were to call my cousins, they let you know that too. I get into my zone and then I start to just try to check off all the boxes so I can get my cup filled in order to pour into others how I like to. When I'm able to spend time with my people and spread myself out a little bit more and even just relax, honestly. Don't get me wrong, I am loving life right now. Right now, I am in a growing and transitional point, and yeah, cool, 30 is creeping. But to me, growth doesn't come with age, it comes from what you're able to grow through. And my cup just grew bigger. It expanded quite a bit, meaning that though I just had a cup that was abundantly pouring over, which allowed me to pour so much of myself and others how I like to, while still having balance in my world. Except now the cup went from like a 20 ounce to a 2 liter. So it's going to take more time and more work before I'm able to pour out this new and bigger glass, how I was just pouring out the last glass. I was already filled with that one though, and it was easier to grasp. So it's going to take some time. But how do you explain that to people that can't see your cup or just knew you to have a cup that was just overflowing? So what do you mean you can't pour into mine right now? What just happened? Why the change? But it's my process, so I trust it regardless of if anyone else does or not. I understand that I'm the one that has to set the tone in my book and in my story, rather than how everyone thinks the story is going to or should go. I went from seeing everyone, every opportunity I had. I got to enjoy a mini summer break when I was transitioning out of one company before walking into a new one. I took a break from school for a moment, and if you've noticed, my routine for dropping episodes has been about every other week or so. And it's not that I'm not trying to still balance everything and everyone. I just know the priorities I have to have for me right now. It's like making tortillas. But before you're like, girl, what? How do you even make tortillas? What's the relevance in tortillas with this? Let me just say, calm down. Let me tell you. You really just need 3 ingredients, right? Flour, salt, and water. You mix them together, then separate the dough into equal parts, push them to the side, and let the little rolled up balls rise for a little while. I've been impatient before and have tried to bypass this part, which has led me to have to start over. But then you see how much it is important, because now it's time to grab your jar or your rolling pin or whatever you're using to roll them out and start rolling each of those little pieces into flat and round tortillas. This is the tricky part. Because if you don't roll it thin enough, it's more like a bread than a tortilla. But if you roll it out too much, it'll be too thin, delicate, and end up ripping before you even get the chance to get it through the comal to heat it up. You have to roll them out thin enough to be flexible, but thick enough to be functional and sane. But I'm not even at the point of that process yet where I can even roll myself out. I'm still at the point where I have to be patient in order for the dough to rise efficiently, let alone rolling myself out thin enough to get to everybody. And it's not like I've not been present for scheduled situations or events. I'll answer or call back if someone's like, it's important, or even if they just need to sit for a moment and talk about nothing, or if they need to come over, because I just have to be in my space more right now. But it doesn't mean that I'm not accessible. If I used a planner regularly, I would show y'all how much I'm working one way or another. And it may not look like work to everyone, but they don't have to see it that way. And at the same time, I shouldn't have to show or prove anything to anyone. Which way my plate is full, or how my plate is full, or where my plate is full. That's for me to carry. I know I'm not obligated to tell anyone what I have going on in my private and personal worlds, especially because those around me should know my character and who I am. And if you need me, say that and I got you. I'll drop what I'm doing, but let me get to this new level and get this situated, get my cup filled, and let the rest just be maintenance for the rest of this level till the big challenge or test gets here at the end, which, because that's inevitable, right? In the most loving and respectful ways, I just know myself and how distracted I can be and how much it is easier to involve anyone and everyone rather than to stand my ground on what I'm willing and able to share or do. At least that's how I used to be. But because I know that about myself and I'm aware of my boundaries and very much do stand on them, as I'm sure y'all know by now, but I won't put myself in that situation. I have better control of my tone, of my story. It's hard though. People start taking it personally or expect to be able to have more of you than you can give them. People tend to feel like they're getting the short end of the stick rather than understanding you're still gathering all the sticks. And I get it because it's an adjustment for sure. There is change because other things do become priorities. It's like the analogy I heard the other day that you have to get your homework done before you do anything else. And I have homework to do right now. New goals I have made for myself, not really expectations from others, but the ones I have for me. I'm sure depending on perspective, I might seem distant, but for me, it's not intended for it to seem like there was a change in the dynamic of the relationship. that I have with anybody. More so just leveling up to be able to have more to offer myself and others. In reference to my cafeteria analogy from episode 3, it's time for a menu adjustment in my cafeteria on what's being served and which tables things are going to end up with. Typically, that comes with people moving seats too, and that's okay. I'll take it, and I'm proud of the boundaries that you set for yourself too. I guess all of this to say or remind you that you get to set the tone to your story, to be mindful of your role as supporting characters in other stories too, though. That life's going to challenge your boundaries and the promises you make to yourself, but to stay grounded so that you can make sure you water the roots properly in order to produce healthy fruits. To find your balance that works for you to get to your definition of success and to your purpose. Not everyone is going to see the bigger picture. You may not even see the bigger picture, but just keep drawing it. It's what I've had to keep reminding myself of and what I've been seeing a lot of people having to do in order to enforce their boundaries and have control over themselves in situations. It might seem like I'm in my own world, that I'm being selfish with my time and myself, but I know the bigger picture and how it can mean being able to offer more too. Being resilient and continuing to keep climbing. It's often a bigger picture than you can even picture yourself. You just got to keep going to get there. And in the words of Walt Disney, just keep moving forward. When you're walking with purpose and pure intentions, it really does tend to all fall into place where it's supposed to and when it's supposed to. To wrap up this episode, I'm going to leave you with the bouquet of gladiolus flowers to represent resilience, like a gladiator fighting for freedom. It can withstand hard conditions, just like you, when the mortality of your choices is being questioned by those around you. Quick side note, I'm already working on episode 7, so hopefully you don't have to wait as long. And I finally got a new phone. I kind of had water damage to the last one, so maybe you'll see me on social media more. Anyways, thanks for always riding the wave with me. Stay blessed. Thanks for spending time with me. Bye.